Okay, so here's what happened. Or maybe more like what didn't happen. Because sometimes it's not about what someone does. It's about what they don't do. Like show up. Like really show up. Like give their whole self. Not just parts of them when it's convenient or when they're lonely or when they need a quick ego boost. No, I mean the full package. The messy, vulnerable, open-hearted, honest version of themselves. The one that doesn't hide behind texts and sex and flirty DMs and late-night cuddles while still talking about someone else. I met him online. Course. Who doesn't these days? Swipe right, match, small talk, then deep talk, then deeper connection. And honestly, he was charming. Like really charming. He knew exactly what to say. Knew how to make me feel seen, wanted, desired. He had this way of looking at me like I was the only person in the room. Even over Zoom, even through a screen, there was this intensity to his presence. And maybe that should have been my first clue. That kind of energy doesn't come out of nowhere. It usually comes from someone who's starving for something. Someone who's been alone too long or hurt too hard, or running from something they won't name. But I didn't see it at the time. I saw passion. I saw connection. I saw potential. I thought, wow, finally. Finally, someone who gets it. Gets what? Gets life. Gets pain. Gets healing. Gets growth. Gets the kind of person who's done the work, who's not afraid to sit in silence, in discomfort, in vulnerability. But here's the thing, I was that person. I was the one who'd already done the work. Years of therapy, journaling, crying, breaking down, rebuilding, setting boundaries, learning how to love myself before I could ever think about loving someone else again. I had done the damn work. And he hadn't even started. He came on strong. Like really strong. Texts every morning, calls every night, visits every other weekend. Flowers, handwritten notes, surprise deliveries. All the grand gestures. All the things people dream of. And yes, it felt amazing. Felt validating. After years of being single, after years of putting myself back together piece by piece, suddenly someone was showing me all this attention. Telling me I was beautiful, smart, worth chasing. Worth waiting for. Worth fighting for. But here's the catch. None of it was real. Or maybe it was real to him. Maybe, in the moment he meant every word. But meaning something in the moment doesn't mean you're ready to carry it forward. Doesn't mean you're capable of holding space for someone else when you haven't held space for yourself. And I didn't realize that until months later. Months of giving pieces of myself, expecting reciprocity, expecting depth, and getting nothing but surface-level affection and occasional bursts of emotion that disappeared as fast as they came. First it was cute. He'd say things like, "I've never felt this way before," or "You're different than everyone else." Classic red flags wrapped in compliments. I brushed them off. I told myself he was just expressing himself, that he was excited, that he was falling in love. But love doesn't move that fast. Love doesn't skip the slow build. Love doesn't bypass the real conversations, the ones about trauma, fears, childhood wounds, insecurities, dreams. Those are the conversations that build trust, that build safety, that build a foundation. And those were the conversations he avoided. Every time I tried to get deeper, he'd deflect, change the subject, say he wasn't ready to talk about that yet. Or worse, he'd turn it around on me. Make it sound like I was moving too fast. Like I was asking too much. Like wanting honesty and emotional intimacy was somehow unreasonable. And I bought into it. Questioned myself. I asked, am I doing too much? Am I expecting too much? Maybe I'm not giving him enough time. But here's the truth. I gave him plenty of time. Gave him space. I respected his pace. I waited patiently while he showered me with physical affection and romantic gestures, all while keeping his heart locked behind a wall built by someone else's name. Because even though he said he was over her, he clearly wasn't. He mentioned her constantly. In passing. In stories. In memories. In habits. In the way he hesitated before making plans. In the way he shut down when I brought up the future. In the way he couldn't fully look me in the eye when I told him I loved him. And still I stayed. Because part of me believed that if I loved him enough, if I showed him what it felt like to be safe, to be cherished, to be truly seen, he would change. He would open up. He would choose me. He would leave the past where it belonged. But that's not how healing works. That's not how love works. Love doesn't mean dragging someone else's shadow into a new relationship. Love doesn't mean using someone else's affection to fill the void left behind by someone who chose to leave. Love doesn't mean staying emotionally closed off while taking everything someone else offers, without giving anything real in return. And I let him take everything. My time. My energy. My trust. My belief that I deserved better. For months, I gave him my best self. My most patient, understanding, forgiving self, while he gave me half of his worst. Half-assed apologies. Half-hearted promises. Half-present affection. And then one day he ghosted me. No explanation. No closure. Just silence. Radio silence for weeks. And then out of nowhere a message. Hey, I miss you. Like nothing happened. Like I hadn't spent weeks crying into my pillow, wondering what I did wrong. Like I hadn't replayed every conversation, every text, every missed sign. Like I hadn't spent hours questioning my worth, my timing, my choices. And in that moment I realized something. I didn't lose him. He lost himself. And he tried to pull me down with him. But I was too healed to follow him into that darkness. So I walked away. And let me tell you, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Walking away from someone who made me feel so good, even if they weren't good for me. Walking away from the fantasy. From the idea of us. From the future I had already started building in my head. But walking away was also the most empowering thing I've ever done. Because I remembered who I was before him. A woman who didn't need validation from anyone to feel worthy. A woman who had already done the hard work. A woman who had already learned to love herself enough to say no to less. And I remembered that I was not here to fix anyone. I was not here to be someone's distraction. I was not here to be someone's rebound or placeholder or emotional band-aid. I was here to live my life fully. To love deeply. But only when the other person was ready to meet me halfway. And if they weren't, then I'd rather be alone. Because being alone is not the same as being lonely. Being alone means choosing peace over chaos. Choosing clarity over confusion. Choosing self-respect over desperation. So to anyone out there who's emotionally unavailable, please hear me loud and clear. Don't get into a relationship just because you're tired of being alone. Don't use someone else's love to heal your broken pieces. Don't make someone else's heart your project. Because when you do that, you don't just hurt them, you unravel their healing. You make them doubt themselves. You make them question their worth. You make them wonder if they'll ever be enough. And that's not fair. So please, if you're still healing, stay single. Do the work. Sit in the silence. Feel your feelings. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself grow. And when you're ready, when you're truly ready, then go find someone who's already whole. Someone who doesn't need you to save them. Someone who chooses you because they want to, not because they need to. Because real love, it doesn't leave you feeling empty. Fills you up. Lifts you higher. Makes you proud of who you are. And if you're not giving that, then you shouldn't be taking it. So please, if you're emotionally unavailable, don't.